Welcome to the January 2nd, 24 work session. Right. Oh, no. All right, well, let's pretend.
What up on it?
Get a flag image. Hold on, everyone. Having technical difficulties. Be there in a moment. We're getting an image. That one? All right. Here
I
we go.
have one. You need a flag?
Pete has one.
Well, we'll look at Pete. I pledge allegiance to the
The
flag
flag of the United States of America.
and to the republic for which it
Which
stands,
stands
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Let's not. Where'd that go? Where'd it go?
Flags are still at the community center.
Okay, better?
Much.
All right. Okay, a few announcements. If you know of anybody who needs shelter or food as we enter the coldest days of the season, they should meet at the open door if they, need a place to stay. They should meet at the open door, in Ossining daily at 8 p.m. and look for a white van. The open door is located at 165 Main Street. More information by calling 914-645-1482. There's a winter coat drive going on now with collection points at the Ossining Padres Hispanos Family Resource Center at 109 Croton Avenue in the Bethany Arts Community. Stormingtown. Yeah, thank you.
Somerstown.
They're collecting.
Somerstown.
Somerstown, thank you. I thought I had it wrong. They're collecting coats, jackets, hoodies, hats, mittens, and gloves. The Westchester County Job Fair will be held at Westchester County Center in White Plains on January 18th, February 8th, and April 30th. Westchester County Police are currently hiring seasonal park rangers. Go to publicsafety.westchester.gov.com. All right, also the MTA is hiring bus operators. Go to mta.info/bus operator. Westchester County has a grant program available to assist with the removal of lead-based paint from homes in the county. For more information, search Lead Safe Westchester. If you need help with your winter utility bills, please go to the New York State Department of Public Services at www.dps/ny.gov/winter. As always, our Ossining Public Library has many events, including laser tag, book groups, films, chess, and more. Please see their website at ossininglibrary.org for more information. Applications are now open for the Bethany Arts Center's 4th annual poetry residency with a deadline of January 15th. Bethany Arts Center also has a Young Artist Fellowship available with an application deadline of January 23rd. Please go to their website for more details. Their Sing Sing Kill Brewery hosts NFL Sundays every Sunday throughout the season. The fun starts at 1 p.m. And there are tarot and astrology readings for the new year available at Hudson Valley Books for Humanity, January 3rd from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Thank you. Does anybody else have any announcements? Great. Okay. Moving on into our work session. And we're going to be discussing the 2024 fee schedules and then recommended changes by the department heads. So we're going to work with Sue first, so our town/village clerk, but today she's a town clerk. So go take it away, Sue. Everybody has the
Yeah.
papers.
So we had recommended that some fee schedules and some deletions in the fee schedule of things that don't necessarily serve the town because we do them in the village or they're just not, I don't know. Anyway, cabaret licenses start, alarms. We took over the alarms in 2022, and we now have a person that's going to be assigned to make sure that um, all alarm holders in the town, which is the unincorporated area of the town, it's not the whole town, um, would be, will be making sure that everybody pays their uh, alarm fees. I have to say that the town residents are exceptional in responding to our alarm fee registration form. So we're going to work harder on the false alarms this year. We have an extra person now in the clerk's department part-time, and it's going to really help us a lot. And if today was any example of what our time is like. It's always crazy on the day after New Year's because all of our licensing and permitting across the board in both the village and the town expired as of last week. So we have a lot of hysteria going on right now. So, but we handled it well today. So the second thing that we had on here was cabaret license, and we would like you to consider raising the cost of a cabaret license for the future in the town. They're very time consuming to take care of. We have to go through the whole police records and we have to go to the town building department to make sure that everyone is in compliance. Right now we have about 3 or 4 cabaret licenses. We have some pending that will be coming in front of you soon. You'll be getting Flames and Maya Riviera. Maya Riviera always does their cabaret license. We have not heard from Terra Rustica, which is another establishment on North State Road. Terra Rustica is also opening the Old Briars and with another name. I'm not sure the name, but they have told us that they will not be going after a cabaret license there. So, we put down what village fees are as requested. And so we would just like you to take that into consideration. That's not something that has to be done this year. We've already started with the cabarets for this year. So this would be something.
What is the
I'm
village
sorry.
and what is our current fee?
So you charge $200 for a cabaret license. The village charges $500 for a full cabaret license. They charge $250 for half a year. And if it's beer and wine only, it's $300 a year and $150 for the half a year. And if they're only doing tea, coffee, milk, or hot chocolate, it's $150 a year. And then $75 for the half a year. And they also have a 1-day $25 cabaret license for if you're just going to do something for a day and you don't want to take out a whole cabaret license, but you want to be compliant with the law.
Okay.
Okay.
And how many police reports and building inspector reports do you generally have for the town properties as compared to the village properties?
Oh, there's no there's no
I'm just
comparison.
wondering if it takes you the same amount of time.
There's just no comparison, but different clientele, different everything. But we do have some, but they still have to do that research, and your building inspector has to go out. So it's just something that it's a revenue that maybe you should consider in the future. That's mainly why I wrote that one in. Okay.
Thank you.
Dog
Interrupting.
fees. Dog fees. The village has turned over all dog licensing to the town. And it is working out quite well. That we did a dog census a couple of years ago. Some people thought that once they paid for a $15 dog license, that they were done forever, but we constantly are sending out reminders. And if your dog gets picked up by the SPCA, you have to prove that you have a dog license with the town of Ossining. You have to prove that you have, in order to have a town dog license, you have to have a current rabies vaccination. That's part of the reason that it's so good. And so we just want to encourage everyone to get their dog licenses. So I just wrote that. I was just writing down the stuff that happens. The boat ramp, as you're all aware that I think that we need more supervision down there, for the boat ramp. And I'm reading right off of my paper right now, so, for the boat ramp, so I think we should consider having more supervision down there. I'm not sure how, how that would work out, but, and how you would want to do that. Peddler's licenses. Peddler's license, if it should be, I would think that we should have the same price in the village as in the town. You have $100 peddler's license. They have $150 a year peddler's license and $25 per day. It also says that we have to have a $20 mandatory police ID card. We don't do that right now. We are issuing the peddler's licenses both for the village and the town. I think that peddlers is something that you should think about in the future, simply because you need to identify that we have no restrictions on what a peddler is as far as door to door. Most of our peddlers that come in are going door to door to sell solar panels. Right now, that seems to be the in thing. So I just want you to take that into consideration, because when you get complaints that people are knocking on their door, that's what it's usually for.
So you're
Um,
suggesting we do restrictions on the type?
I'm suggesting both the village and the town that we look at the peddler's licenses this year as to what do you want, who do you want knocking on people's doors, and I can't tell you single-handedly how many complaints I get. That the town gets, because I only get a few, but I'm sure you guys get some too of people knocking on the door. First thing I say, I already have solar, so I always say to them, "Don't come knocking on my door."
Do people come and get the license though?
Yes, they have to. Give you the procedure for both. You have to get fingerprinted. The fingerprint goes through the police department, so we are checking on everybody. I want everyone to be aware that everybody that has a peddler's license from the town of Ossining or the village of Ossining, but we're going to concentrate on the town of Ossining, has gone through a fingerprint check. We have a copy of their license and we have an application in the office. We do have in the village, as I said before, a $25 one day, and that's usually used for people selling flowers on Mother's Day and the like. So that was the peddlers. Okay, police fee. Okay, I want to talk to you about the police fees, impoundments first. Okay, let's do that. We do not have tow truck companies or tow trucks drivers registered in the town of Ossining. We're going to find the same thing when I get down to taxi drivers. They are all done through the village. We are working, and I would like the town to work hand in hand with the village, because we are taking this law that we have and really making it much more common sense and bringing it down. It was very arduous on the tow truck companies. So you have different items in there that I think should just be moved out, because you use the same police department as the village. The same companies are called out for impoundments and car accidents on the village, because we have a rotating list. And I think we should delegate that down to the village. We are working quite closely with Corporation Council of the Village on this subject, and I would love the town to be part of that so that we can all be on the same page. It gets a little bit more difficult once we have multiple we handle it. I'm telling you, we handle it every day, but if we had more of like pricing, since the unincorporated part of the town and the village of Ossining are so close together and aligned.
So what pricing do you have for the tow companies now?
So for the tow companies right now, we're in the middle of two laws. We have the old law and we have the new law that has to be reconsidered. But one of the things that we will be doing is we will be having this year a company's operator permit. We will be having a tow truck driver's permit. And we do restrict what they can charge for anyone that is brought in on an impoundment. that's important because if it's a car accident, we can't really stipulate what they're gonna charge if the insurance companies are involved.
So
So
when you, so sorry, this is Christy. When you say we, do you mean the village?
I mean the village right now. Yes. Yeah, because they're the
Okay.
people I'm working on with this right now. It is a top priority for us, especially if we only get done this year, tow truck company operators permits and as far as tow truck drivers permits, we'll think we accomplished. It's been a struggle and it's a different group of people too. So yeah. So we have about 6 companies right now. We not only work with them, we also have meetings with them all the time so that they understand when we have problems with them. And the police are very good at they are on a rotation schedule. And if we could have someone from the town representing the town sit in on some of these meetings, I think that will alleviate you from having this, since you do use the same police department. And it's not like we have, in the whole time that I've been involved in the town, we have never registered a tow truck operator or company. So when it was Westchester County Police, I was not there for the town police, but when it was Westchester County Police, they used their tow list. And now that it's the village for years now, they use their own tow list. Village, I don't want to call them the village police because they're the Ossining Police. They're not the village police at all. That brings me down to the taxi cabs and limousines. We have no one registered for the town of Ossining, but we do have people registered for the village of Ossining. So right now we call a taxi Saturday. And we have gone down from having 30 companies and 150 drivers to 16 companies and maybe 60 drivers. And the reason for that is that we have much more control over the situation where it wasn't just handing out these licenses. Everyone is checked by the police and the records officers over in the police department. Everyone has to be fingerprinted. Everyone has to have their everything checked out on them. They have to have references. I can send you over a copy of what the village application looks like. And at this point in the game, you are and will continue to be, you are required to be not bilingual, but you must speak English to drive a taxi cab. So we have probably 50% of our taxi drivers right now in English classes between Ossining Padres Hispanos and Neighbors Link. So we have them. So by the time March rolls around, we have moved taxi day to March. And by the time March rolls around, they have to show me their diploma from English as a second language class. And the reason for that is twofold. Primarily, it's for our senior citizens. As you know, in the town of Ossining, we have the taxi coupon program. And so a lot of our seniors partake in that, and they are, they call the cab companies. And when they have a problem with the taxi company, they call us, or they call the senior nutrition program, which is the same thing as calling us because we're communicating all the time on this. And we have to have them come in. We have meetings with them. And everyone is required to take senior citizen coupons. It used to be a select group of 2 or 3 companies. And that didn't work out because all the other companies would take the coupons and then give them to Equa or one of the other companies to turn in. I do want you to know that a year ago, we changed the village of Ossining changed the pricing of a cab ride to $6. So you are right now paying 50% of a senior citizen coupon because you charge the senior citizens $3 for a coupon. They are required to go into the town, whether they be a village resident or a town resident. They all buy their coupons from the senior nutrition program, which is a town-run department. And And then what they do is they are required to go in the town and they're required to pick up the people. It took a long time to train them where the town boundaries were and how they can't upcharge them. There is a 1.5 coupon for
Phelps
if you're
and
going to Phelps or to ShopRite, which means if you're going to Croton. They do have the senior citizen bus every now and then goes to ShopRite, I think on Wednesdays. But if they want to take a cab to ShopRite or to Phelps, there's also rules that the seniors have to follow, that they can't have stops in between their beginning destination and their end destination. The taxi is not required to wait for them. They have to call again and get it. We have some companies that do a beautiful job, the coupons. We have some companies that don't, and we're constantly monitoring them. And so what we're suggesting is that you don't need that stuff in your fee schedule. Should someday you decide to do this again, you can always put this stuff back into a fee schedule. But just to have it there, and it's very confusing because it's very old, some of the pricing in there.
Sorry, Sue,
So-
just
Right.
Christy, one more question.
Can have
Isn't
100
the
questions.
town that has the contract though?
Town has a contract for the coupons,
Right.
only the coupons.
So what exactly are you asking to have changed?
They're in your thing, you have, in your fee schedule, I don't have the fees, I have my little notes, I apologize, I don't have my fee schedule with me. But in the fee schedule, they actually have a taxi and limousine section. And unless you want to just put in their coupons, that's fine, but we do not register any taxis or limousines in the town of Ossining.
Okay, so we're not talking about the coupons. We're just.
Oh, no,
talking-
we're not talking
okay.
about the coupons at all.
I just
was
wanted to be clear because I
explaining-
know the town
yeah.
has that contract.
Oh, no, they have the contract and they will always have that contract.
All right,
The,
thank you.
yeah, I just wanted to explain to the whole board about how the coupons, and I apologize that it did get a little confusing there, so, yeah.
I mean, I guess I would want it to mirror the village's numbers,
Well, you don't
Or
have anybody registered in
the
the town.
taxes. But we're always encouraging new businesses.
You're never gonna have, okay, that's why I said you can remove it and put it back if you want to. I don't foresee taxi companies coming out of the town. I'm just being honest with you, you know?
Okay.
So,
That's fair. What
and
do you-
it should,
So
and
one
it could do
question,
like,
please.
I'm sorry,
Hold on,
Question,
Angela's-
going back to the fingerprints thing, how much does it cost us to do a fingerprint? on a
it doesn't
pedal-
cost us anything. It costs the applicant $88.
Besides the fee that they're paying on the fee schedule?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Everybody pays, well, they go to a company, we have special codes. If you're a peddler, if you're a taxi cab driver, and we'll soon have one for tow truck drivers. That go out, they go to the fingerprint, they call a special number, they tell them exactly where to go, they have their fingerprints, and they come back to us with a receipt.
Got it.
That they had this done. And then we send the receipt over to the police department. They do all the investigation on this. We're not in the business of investigating. And so yes, that fee is completely up to the individual person that is applying for the license.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. We do have, and just one other thing, it says on the bottom of, if you have this list in front of you, it says that in the village, we have a $35 annual fee we have an inspection of all the cabs. We'll go back to taxis now, cabs in the village. And that's part of the reason that we moved it to March, because in January, when we used to do it the second week of January, it's much too cold to be truly inspecting a car the way it should be. So they also have to go to a particular gas station to have the initial inspection done.
Where is that?
It's King's Shell.
Okay.
So we do
So
have
how
that.
much is the inspection?
Well, the police inspection is $35 a car.
Okay.
A medallion in the village costs $350 for each car per year, or any part of the year. And then $35. So it's $385 for them to have a medallion put on a car, as long as it passes inspection. But
I'm not sure if you would have this, but do you know what the penalties are if you're caught without some of these licenses?
well, the police give you tickets.
Yeah, do we know what that amount is? I'm
I
just,
do not, I do not know that amount, but I know that that's part of our excitement about getting these new officers and stuff, because we'll have people that will do that, but we can also pull the medallion off the car, and then then it's even a higher penalty if they are found, A, to be driving without an operator's license, and B, to be driving without a medallion.
Generally, the code will provide like a minimum or a range, and then it's really in the discretion of the prosecutor and the judge as to what the ultimate outcome will be. Also, the number of times that you've
Right.
offended or not been.
yeah,
Generally,
yeah, no, I'm
pretty
just wondering if it's low enough where people would rather take the risk, you know, if that's something we want to think about.
Probably.
It sometimes for some of our and every by the way, every taxi driver must belong to a company. We do not have just willy-nilly, we don't have anything to do with Uber or Lyft or anything like that. But in order to be a village sanctioned, or now I hope to be well, it's a village in town because they're the same taxi companies that use the coupon system. You must have a license, and you must forget what I was gonna say now, but anyway.
But
But
if somebody calls an Uber, they can come, right?
Yeah.
But there's no
It's-
licensing for that.
There's no
That
license,
the town engages in.
right? There's no licensing that village engages in either, so. But for our taxi companies, who are the people that go down to the train station, but every person must belong to a cab company. We do not have anybody when they come in and they say, I just want a taxi driver license, they have to be sent by one of our established taxi companies who have the proper insurance and the proper incorporation and the proper everything that's checked out every single year too, so. But I wanted to take some of the sections of the town fee schedule that nobody uses and do similar to what we did with the village just before I got on board as the clerk, what was done with the with the dog licensing, because there was some confusion at a point with the dog licensing. I lived through that. And so if we have cleaner fee schedules, I think it's easier for people. And I think you just have to review it all, every year, at least once a year, if not more. And always remember that you can put stuff onto a fee schedule and you can remove stuff from the fee schedule. But it should be accurate. And that was my whole point of this discussion.
So, go ahead.
Sorry, would it make sense just to, on our fee schedule, refer to village fee schedule?
Yes, but that's what the village does for the dog licensing. Yeah. And it could be different things that you're both better at, that each municipality is better at is better. And the last one was call the cab coupons. As I said to you before, when I sent you this email, we took approximately how many taxi coupons that we sell a year, which was a very nice number of $39.63 times $6. Right now, you're paying 50% of that coupon out of the town budget and you also have I think a ongoing grant program with that.
Right.
But it doesn't cover the whole cost. And at some point, since we have raised the amount of your responsibility for each coupon, you should consider raising the price of the coupons for the senior citizens. If it's something that you want to do. Because right now it's costing you on that number that Lynn gave me of $39.63, it's costing you almost $12,000 a year. Now, and I don't have in there that what you get as a grant or an ongoing funding for that. So that's it. That's my my spiel.
All right.
So
Anybody have any
I
questions?
don't really think I don't feel comfortable with just referencing the village's fee schedule. We're two separate municipalities. I understand there's a lot of overlap. I have no problem with being aligned with the village's fee schedule, if that's something you guys are comfortable with, or if it's a village-run program. or operation, like we were talking about, like with the impound fees that run through the police department, then we just don't need that fee, period, right? Because if it's going through the police department, that which we have an IMA with the village for. But I don't really, I'm not
Well,
comfortable.
the
with
only
making it-
reason that I'm even comparing the village to the town is because I was asked to.
Yes.
Well, of course, there's a considerable amount of overlap. No one's questioning that.
No, But I was asked to by the town to, give what I was asked to give what the village, charges for things. That's the,
Just so we
that's
have an
the only.
understanding
Because
of
the
where-
original.
And I have
original
no
email that
problem
went out
with
did not
with
have
an
that.
alignment. It'll be more efficient for the clerk's office and
Right.
makes sense. And if the board is comfortable with it, I have no problem with it. I just, because we're two separate municipalities, to just have a fee schedule, say, see Village of Ossining, you know, I think that's probably going a
That's
little
too
bit
far.
too
Okay.
far.
Understood.
So I would just rather either, just, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and Sue mentioned, maybe more interaction with the village, in the fall and, coming up to the end of the year when the fee schedule is being worked out. Because, generally we're not involved in the conversations about what the village's fee schedule is, as far as, at least I'm not. So if we could be more aligned, I have no problem with that, but I think that should just be done through town board resolution, as you're authorized to do.
But I think that what you have to do is review across the board, not just the clerk's functions, but across the board. Look at your fee schedule and you have some antiquated pricing in there, and then just either change it or, I don't even, whatever you want to do, but you have some old pricing in that fee schedule. That's all. That's really where I was coming from for the first.
I think
for
it
the
also,
first
it
one.
also depends upon the department, and there are obviously
Mhm.
differences between the village and the town in some respects. With your capacity, obviously, because you serve a joint function, you see it from both ends, but we have other departments, like we'll be hearing from Pete in a few minutes. And, like our building department, where it's completely separate from the village, so.
Oh,
it
no,
might-
and I totally agree with you on that. I totally agree with you on that, yes, I'm just concentrating on the clerk functions. I just made a statement that you should just review all your pricing on there. But most of it I found was in the clerk's department, so. Okay,
Does the village have a beekeeping fee, or do they have
No.
beekeeping at all?
I think they have beekeeping, but it's so few and you have such requirements. It's not like the towns at all. We don't collect bee permitting from the village. We did find out the other day we had chickens in the town that were running amok, so we sent the police over for that. Do we have chickens? We allow chickens?
Yes.
Yeah, the village does allow beekeeping, but I believe from when
No,
I
no.
left, nobody had a permit.
No,
Yeah.
no, oh no, Bethany Arts Center always gets their permit.
Oh,
That's
the
the town,
village.
that's the town.
Oh, in the village? Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
in the
no,
village, I
yeah.
don't think anybody has a
Maybe
permit
they don't
there.
require one. Okay.
No, but in the
They're
town.
required, there's just nobody has.
Well,
Yeah.
It's so restrictive. There's no house that has enough acreage in the village to have that. But I would, yeah. But do you have a permit, Chrissy, for for chickens?
We allow chicken.
Not a permit for
Mhm.
chickens, not that I'm
No,
aware of.
do you allow chickens? I think the town does. I'm not 100% sure, but we did have a
I mean,
situation.
it
like
does,
we
it does
allow-
allow domestic animals. I think there's
Oh.
restrictions based upon acreage and numbers and whatnot, but
Keeping them corralled. I had
yeah, I
complaint-
haven't,
neighbors
I haven't
complaining.
looked at that provision of the code recently.
I know, right? I can. Okay, so, and again, it's just for you guys to be mindful that you have a fee schedule, to be mindful of the pricing on the fee schedule, and to make sure we make adjustments as needed. That's really where I was coming from with this.
Okay, so the highlighted ones are the suggested changes.
The highlighted ones I was requested by the town board to give you the village pricing, but yes, the red sections, if you have a color copy of this
I do.
listing, is suggesting some changes, and not to be done necessarily this year, but to be talked And not to, and to do it during the year, not at the end of the year. Do you know what I mean? Because that's tough. That's tough for all of us. Today was probably one of the craziest days we have in the village and the town clerk's office, because every single permit expires the other day. So, yeah, it was a multitasking kind of day.
Did you send them a?
Yeah, the village one is on the website, but I found the email here.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
All right, thank you, Sue. I appreciate you taking the time to be with us.
Okay, you're very
Have
welcome.
any other questions?
No.
Anybody?
Okay, see you later.
We got you out of here early.
Have a good time, Pete.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Pete.
Hi, everybody.
All right. Did you- Okay, all right. Pete, do you have your fee schedule?
Sure. So I'm recommending to the board this revised fee schedule for Dale and Sparta cemeteries. Be the first adjustment in almost 2 years. Comparatively with cemeteries the same size, we're about midpoint, maybe a little higher in some of these services that we provide. So generally speaking, each one almost has been adjusted about 20% from 2022, 2023's fees. So again, we're right in line with cemeteries relatively the same size and the number of interments each year that others provide also.
Did everybody have a chance to review?
Didn't they all look in order?
Yeah, and the other thing to note is, we've increased the fee for, having a Saturday burial, because our staff fees have gone up.
Understood.
Yeah, we need teachers there, so.
We also revised the Monument Foundation fees. So that has been increased also. We do the concrete foundations for every monument, then the monument dealers come in and set the monuments after we do the concrete work. So there's a charge for different sizes for each monument, and I raised those fees also.
Okay, I see we have a special veterans.
Yes.
Marker for the veterans section only? Or for,
Anywhere in the cemetery, it's a reduced fee. That's been the norm since I've been here.
okay, no, I'm fine.
Mhm.
Everybody good with that?
I'm good.
I'm good with that.
Sorry, I just had a quick question in regards to that, Pete. So the foundation charges are also part of the fee schedule for Dale Cemetery, so that will also be approved at the reorg meeting as well, correct?
Correct.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Good.
Good.
Good. All right, Pete, thank you. Gee, I should have
Okay.
been first.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Okay, one more set of fees to discuss, right? Okay. Do you have those? I don't have that one.
Yes, okay. So this is just the one that back in the work session we had spoken about in September about how currently the town of Austining has electric charging stations at our 4 different parks. And since the program initiated a couple of years ago, the first 3 hours have been free and the following hours have been $5 per hour as you go on. So as we had spoken about, the grant money basically covered us for a couple of years with the maintenance and warranty of the electric charging stations. That grant as of 2023 expired. So we've basically had to take over the yearly charge for the maintenance of these electric chargers, and it's nearly about $5,000. And at most every month we get like $200 for these charging stations. So we're kind of, we're losing money at the end. And again, the goal is not to make money, but we just kind of have to balance it out, on how much, we're making versus how much we're actually spending on these, electric charging stations. So one of the things that we had discussed and I had, spoken with ChargePoint, there's a possibility we can get rid of the free charging. We just kind of need to decide on a base on how much we want to charge per hour. So we would get rid of the free, and how much would you guys be up to deciding to charge it? Right now, and when I'd sent an email earlier, I had just left it at $5 per hour because that's how much we've been charging after the 3 hours. So I don't know if this is something you guys would like to continue, $5 more or less. I just wanted your opinion and see where you guys stand on that.
It's a good starting point. Was after the first couple hours went out? Yeah. mine's out. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's good. It's a good starting point, $5, because like I said, after the first couple hours, then it stays 5 hours for how many hours after that? Does it go down or up after that?
In perpetuity.
No, in perpetuity, yeah. It just remains the same at $5 per hour. We weren't, yeah, I think that's what we had just spoken about. We had talked about maybe, doing like kind of different levels and stuff like that. But I think the easiest choice, I think, would be, why don't we start out with the flat rate, see how that works? And then maybe move along and see if maybe for next year, maybe we can revisit this in 6 months. And see if maybe we want to change the fee. So like I think Christy was mentioning before, we can always ratify the fee schedule with the resolution. It's not set in stone, but if we want to test it out for the first 6 months, see how it goes. And of course, we would like to start this, as soon as we can, but we would also like to give the public an acknowledgement that this is going to be changing. That way, nobody goes in on Monday morning and already starts paying and is not aware.
So have we, is it a big hit to the budget to add another $2,000 or $3,000 in expenses because we won't have the grant anymore?
It's $1,000 per charger,
Yeah.
so it's about $8,000.
I would have to check, but I don't have the numbers with me, my apologies, but we did account it for the 2024 budget. We just haven't, we didn't account it for the 2023, because like I said, it was a surprise charge. When we came in last year and we got that invoice.
Yeah, the grant program was 5 years maintenance and connection fees. It's the connection fees with the in addition to the maintenance plan. And they're getting older, especially the one by the riverfront, which I honestly think we should look at replacing. It's been underwater during a couple of storms.
But I was asking in the context if we're actually going to anticipate, based on what we've taken in, $5 an hour is enough to even impact what our expenses will be. In other words, could that be a third of what we're going to lay out, $5 an hour? Or-
I really don't know. We have quite a few people who take advantage of our chargers in the parks at different times, but that's probably because they're free for the first 3 hours. So I do not know that I can predict how long these people are going to decide to use these chargers when they have a fee associated with
Got
it. So I think it's a question mark. It is built into our budget for this year. So, sorry, Jen?
I don't, do we have any possibility that we know what other municipalities charge? Do we have any idea?
So I was in a conversation, so not a lot of municipalities have the free charging like the way that we have it. Most of them just have it for their own fleets, or they have something set up with like a different like partnership. Like a lot of them, when we were researching, again, thank you to Jamie Hoffman for helping me from the village this afternoon. They have it like with Tesla, but that's kind of like an agreement where, hey, we give you the land and you charge, but that's separate. We did look at another municipality, and the way they have it set it up is per energy joint, that per energy that is being used. So it's not kind of like at an hourly basis, it's per energy was used.
Got
And I believe when we were looking at it, I think it was $250 per energy that was used or something around like that in Bronxville, I want to say. And I'll double confirm that again. But we looked at Peekskill, we looked at Sleepy Hollow, I personally asked the village here if they had a rate, and they said that they didn't. And I looked at their fee schedule as well, and we couldn't find
All
anything.
right, I was
Yeah.
just curious, like how we could compare
Yeah,
this decision to other municipalities, but I think $5 is fair, especially that's what we were charging after the free 3 hours. How are we going to notify everybody that we're gonna be doing this? Like, how
Well,
can we
that's-
let people know?
Yeah, so the main reason we're doing it now is so that it will be announced during our reorg and put on our fee schedule.
Okay,
Yeah,
So that people will be aware, and I think that, we'll research with some of the electric car owners, you know, they know how much things are
Yeah.
around other localities.
I would also suggest that we put up like a small laminated sign at the chargers now.
Absolutely.
And saying, just, for your knowledge, on this date, we're going to be, starting all, all charging hours are gonna be rated, this rate or whatever. So just that nobody can say that they
I
were
didn't
not
know.
notified,
Absolutely.
so that we can say that we notified you in plenty of time. That's all.
so
Right,
we are,
and yes, so one of the things is I think we're experiencing this before most of the other municipalities because we adopted the chargers before most of the other municipalities. So we're the guinea pigs, just coming to doing it now, so we'll
Okay.
find out.
Sounds good.
and what I can,
Question from Martha,
ahead.
how fast can you generate the reports, or does the company have to generate the reports monthly, just to keep
So-
track on before we fall behind, if we are falling behind?
yeah, so that was my follow-up. So yeah, so we receive a monthly list of how much, where it was charged, for how long, and the amount of total money that we get. So that's, if you guys look at the supervisor's monthly report, there's a line that says charge point, and it says for the previous month how much money was garnered. If you guys would wish, I could start emailing you those reports as well, if you would like to see them. They kind of go on and off. Sometimes they go at the beginning of the month, sometimes a little bit afterwards. But we do get those monthly checks. But like I said, I could make a note and we can revisit this in June, and I can present again and see how much money we've made compared to how much we made last year, and then we can revisit this come June if we decide, hey, maybe it's not working, if it is working, and then we can revisit that. But I'll make a note for myself for June so we can present this again.
And any new chargers we put in presumably will be done with the grant program, and they will come with 5 years maintenance, and we'll be able to not charge for them until the agreement with the state is that it will be free for the first few hours. If it's paid for by a program. So.
Sounds good.
And Martha, those reports that you get, those are broken down by space. So I know like at some point we talked about like how the train station, people may just use them as train parking. Is that captured anywhere?
If you give me 1 second, I can actually pull that up and see.
I did notice there's one car that seems to be a rider parked like all the time. So,
How many did we have total? How many did we have?
6, and then the ones that are municipal, so 6 available to the public.
Martha, if you can't vote, just talk about it.
Okay. All right, so liaison appointments. So basically, it's time for, during the reorg meeting, to talk about our different liaison appointments. So as supervisor, I am de facto on all committees. Which means, yeah, I can listen to them all, which is fine. And then Historic Hudson River Towns, intermunicipal leadership teams, Westchester Municipal Officials Association, Ossining Communities That Care, Westchester Municipal Planning Federation, Sustainable Westchester, and the supervisors group. So where we are now, and I'm inclined to keep it that way unless anybody has changes they would like to make. Or has everybody looked at their liaison appointments, and is everybody happy with their liaison appointments? Is there any one that you would like to be more involved in or less involved in? Then, yeah,
I'm good.
I'm good.
okay, so we're good to leave them. Well, that was easy.
Yeah.
Where are you?
It's the first.
Matt, do you need to look at the list?
Yeah, I'm just showing him where to find it.
You can look at this
Yeah.
one.
Got, he got it.
You got it, okay. All right, so we'll give him a moment. All right, and if you have any changes you would like to make before we get to the reorg meeting, so like, tomorrow. Because we have to post it. Okay, all right, so, well, that was pretty easy. Everybody's happy, good. Anyway, we can always reorganize them if anybody has any changes they'd like to make. And that's it for our meeting. So thank you for joining us for our first work session of 2024. And we are going to adjourn to executive session for
Contract negotiations and advice of counsel.
contract negotiations and advice of counsel. We don't have any personnel, right? Okay. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and good night.